Refuting Shazon Demban Devareshavan Jiten Chemba Ju Kalo Juvalana Meval Hada Menanjet Sanje Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Shaz Chudo Jazo Shevo Demba Jumden Dishen Shevan Rajumanya Zobe Sanje Refuting Shazon Devareshavan Jiten Chemba Ju Kalo Juvalana Meval Hada Menanjet Sanje Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Shazin Chudo Demba Jumden Dishen Shevan Rajumanya Davan Refuting Shazon Demban Devareshavan Jiten Chemba Ju Lama Meval Hada Menanjet Demba Sanje Jumden Shaja Tubana Shazon Shudo Jazo Sheo Kanze Kanye Zo Chatham Sea Sajan Tena Kumba Mani Jiten Tena Choje Song Dese Kaba Jono Chans Namda Kunga Choto Susangwa Yishi Jazo Seje Kumbo Chaban Jiten Sumna Gombo Shunyi Jona Cha Zeno Senjo Demba Chimenda Sendon Rawa Jona Cha Zeno Dire Jena Seba Suma Nyame Jinjen Jona Cha Zeno Gombo Tuji Chedemba Tumje Jembe Demba Sonam Yenden Jazo Jen Dishen Shana Cha Zeno Taben Desha Chewa Given Yason Ledre Jiji Do Tenam Chojo Shinjur Jona Cha Chene Tura Lanyan De Lava Tala Radu Shinga Tamba Yenden Gendula Yasha Zelon Divachi and Mejajin Gawa Prison Rangi Sene Yonzo de Tene Sanje Tembayi Karma Rim Juma Seva Chubur the Melon Loda Genda Condition de Delta Sonam Dia Tomje Seva Yukobantam the Junjin Radu Gata Nata Chivo Lotri Sivia Solan Jovan Jova Ratio
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to the end, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya land, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides that said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supreme and pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality. To that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of the lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing subdue the flow of faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje shono soje shono chanju bodo dane jazu. Nagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jebe sanje shono soje shono. Chanju bodo dane jazu je nagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jebe. Sanje shono soje shono chanju bodo dane jazu. Nagin jeso jebe sonam je rola benje sanje jebe shono.
I go for refuge in town and land, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge in town and land, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge in town and land, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I created by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Tamje Jimala Cha, Zelon de la Sanje Jimne, and the Shisha Wanda Jumaya, the Sanje the origin of Jim. Kala Juvalana Mevalada Min, and yet the Sanje Jimden, the Son, the Shisha Vati, the Son of the Gavazavana Machu, Mezava Severa, Sono Jeter, Pages of Jeter, Jim. Juremba to Matona, Medium, Tebe, Mevan. Sheraba Sigi Minaba Tona Ziva Messenger, Dona Ziva Messenger, Temba, Chanju Semban, Yav, Pabe Kaza, Jevo, Yangele de Bertrandir, and Rowan and Jetebe, Yishepa, Boba Samji, so Nabrata by Yandova, Yanimo Gujeta, Shomesh, good Sumba, Devata, Suda, Venyama, Sumeva, Lumela number to go Pumba, and number to go come on the middle, Gajan, the children of Yodu, Sivalea to a jewel and give a Yishan of the Vandeva to Majumba to Tadu. Sanje Jimland, the Yishan and Neva, young and the Devan, Mineva, Yada, and Yasalan. Simjatam Jella Siva Sala Shuba there and the Danda Sanje Jimland, which you may the Yada. Tavision, the Toma gave a party, gave a Toma gave a to answer with Sindus and Manjebo Yozo. Yozo Taba, Yozo Chawa, Yada, but Nemba, but Tushava, when you want to Toma to you. Kevin Josozo and the river, Jim Dendy, never to be turned the one and never to make a version of it. Do I ever meet them by making the water and the Temba you were whatever Chimberg did. Laboratory, River, Tamburshu, Timbershu, Tembaja, you were charged with Sona Pages, years of Joan Jimena, Kundo and Jimena, Chambo, come here to the Yazuna Dawa touch of vision that Adam chance. So we are on chapter 13, refuting Cittamatra standpoint. Refuting in particular the Cittamatra standpoint. So this has three parts: refuting the intrinsic existence of the consciousness with no external reality, refuting the proof of intrinsic existence of the dependent nature. So number three, how the word only, mind only is as only, in the statement about mind only does not reject external reality. So refuting the intrinsic existence of the consciousness with no external reality, this has two parts: presenting the opponent's standpoint and refuting that standpoint. So the presenting the opponent's standpoint, so the proponents of the consciousness who are unable to bear the Madhyamika standpoint presented thus far go about establishing the meaning of the scriptures by the propounding a standpoint that does not reflect the Buddha's intentions, but is instead to create out of their own preconceptions to state this standpoint clearly as outlined in their own text. The first opponent's positions is presented. So Chandrakirti text. Cittamatra, apprehending no object, he perceives no object, and understanding the triple world, 3 realms, there's triple worlds, to be mere consciousness. The Bodhisattvas who abides in the perfection of the wisdoms realize suchness in terms of the consciousness only. So this Cittamatra says, so noble Bodhisattvas, when they reach the 6th bhumi, perfection of the wisdoms. So this is in noble Bodhisattvas who reach six perfections, 6th bhumi or perfection of the wisdom. So he sees everything rise from the consciousness, nothing there apart from the consciousness. So this is Cittamatra says. So now the commentary, the Bodhisattvas on the 6th level who abides or resides in the superior perfection of the wisdom, meditate on suchness. So, the suchness is emptiness. Using the very reasonings that led him to cognize ultimate reality without distortions, and to see without superimposition of the subject and object dualities. Realize suchness in terms of the consciousness only. This is how the Cittamatra interprets. This Bodhisattvas also realize that mind and the mental factors, given there is no external reality, are mere dependently originated entities with no correspondence to the external realities. This is therefore referred to as realizing suchness in terms of mere consciousness. So in this mind-only school, the understanding of the perfect ultimate truth is nothing but consciousness. When asked how does such Bodhisattvas realize suchness, they respond as follows. This Bodhisattvas has established through the reasoning to be presented below that phenomena such a form emerge from the maturation of the inner habitual propensity. He is apprehending no object separate from the mind, and without them he perceives no apprehending object separate from such subject. Thus, thoroughly understanding the triple world of the 3 realms to be mere consciousness, he cultivates familiarity with this suchness of the non-duality, and through such familiarities, he sees these suchness of the non-dualities directly with his own reflexive awareness. So now here the reflexive awareness is not talking about the mind-only school, like double consciousness. This is reflexiveness. Mind understand the mind its own nature, right? So mind perfectly understood its own nature. So that's here the reflexive awareness. Having pursued such gradual familiarizations in the past, the Bodhisattvas on the 6th level realize suchness in terms of consciousness only.
if all this is consciousness only, and there is no external reality, how does mere mind processing the aspect of such external reality come to arise? So the mind notice Cittamatra, Cittamatras. Chit is the, I think, consciousness or the mind. Sometimes there's a different connotations, it's mind and consciousness. So consciousness, aware. Mind is like, engage an object. Consciousness, just there's no particular, object, but aware. What you're going to say, I can listen. What you if there's smell, I can smell. So you're conscious. Right? You're conscious about knowledge. You're conscious about politics. You're conscious about, food. Right? So, so here the chit is just awareness, the consciousness. Cittamatra, matra is only nothing but consciousness. So the minority school, so if all this is consciousness only, there is no external reality, how does mere mind processing the aspect of such external reality? So you see, see the forms, the shapes, the colors, and so many things that outside. So you're also aware of what you are looking at. When you see the trees, the house, the peoples, so you're not looking into. You can see from your expressions. You're looking out, right? It's not inside. So you see something outside. So now the question is, if everything is mind, and in what conditions the consciousness, seem to, engaging in external reality. So then says, just as in the ocean, they're whipped by the windstorm, waves rise high and after another, high one after another. Just as in the oceans whipped by the windstorm, waves rise high one after another, so from the seed of all, the foundation consciousness, mere consciousness arises through its own potential. So the consciousness is just awareness, and the wave that, the consciousness that are seeing something, listening, smelling. So then these are the wave of the potential, the seed within the mind basis, all kind of, what do you call it, popping up, or kicking in that oceans. So so that's the minority school thing. Just as in the great ocean, the source of wave, for example, when it is whipped and beaten hard by the windstorm, what previously seemed calm, as if sleeping gives way to wave that rise high one after another, as if competing with each other, like eye consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, the body consciousness. So all just competing, just active, So this is kind of like wave within from the consciousness. So like that, this imperfect dependent world, so sometimes translators use this contaminated dependent world or contaminated conditional things. So that is mere consciousness arises from the foundation consciousness. So contaminated world or uncontaminated, or positive world or negative world, whatever you see, virtue and non-virtues, all rise from the foundation consciousness. The seed of all outer and inner phenomena, through the maturation of its potential, commensurate, right, with their own class. So these potentials were deposited upon foundation consciousness through the ceasing of afflictions such as attachment and virtue such as faith. This childish conceived the world in dualistic terms of the subject and object, so dividing it into inner and outers. When there's a positive thoughts inside, and then the positive appearance in the outer world, or the virtues and the outer world also appears as the virtues. So negative and the outer negatives. So dividing into inner and outers, yet no object exists, not even the slightest, that is substantially separate from the consciousness. This above statement indicates that in much the same manner as those who assert God, Ishvara, right? So now this Lama Tsongkapha is saying, there's more foundation consciousness. So not in God or Ishvara, so on to be the creator of the world of the being. Proponents of the foundation consciousness speak of it is, it is as the barrier, right, of all
Bearer of all seeds.
bearer of all the seeds, since it is the basis of all the entities that are perceived as the object of consciousness. So they're saying this, the foundation consciousness, is the creator of all, the positive world or negative world or peaceful world, not peaceful, virtue and non-virtue. So when the consciousness is the outer world reflects from the inner world. So that the inner world is changing because the seed that is reside, reside within the foundation consciousness. The seed just maturations. It's maturing, and then the inner world changes. When inner world change, outer world change. So there's nothing in the outside, other than the consciousness. So, so the main creator is the foundation consciousness. This is very much like Ishvara. Ishvara is the one, the source that, of the sentient beings and non-sentient beings. World, planets, and sentient peoples and sentient beings are all, rise from the origin of the kind of the source of that is the Ishvara. From the Bhagavan, everything happens. So like mind basis always act like a God. So when this kind of teachings and very this is those people who has so much, influence and the informs as a creator for many, many, many generations. So for them, they feel, oh, so it seems like I know this world, right? I know this teaching. So, and then for example, in one reads, a spider is the cause of the spider web. A water stone is that of water, and just as the tree trunk is the cause of its branches, God is the cause of all beings. So from the tree trunks, the branches, from the spiders, the spider web, water stone. So you know water stone? So I think in Tibet we have the name Chushe. Chushe is something that is it's in the water.
River rock.
Kind of river rock. It's like glass. It is like glass. So sometimes it stays within the rock. Within the rock, there is glass, right? So some people they melt it, make the eyeglass. So these kind of that sustain the water. It kind of it says Chushe is the cause of the water. So just as the tree trunks, like similar, the God is the cause of all beings. The difference is that while the God is eternal, the foundation consciousness is impermanent. The only story changes there, So far you believe that everything that arises from one thing, which is the God, Bhagavan, which is the permanent. Now you got is the same thing, same function, but he is impermanent. So which name foundation consciousness. So different is the God is the eternal, the foundation consciousness, impermanence. It is through teaching foundation consciousness, therefore, that the Buddha tamed many who have been habituated in heterodox view over many lifetimes. So people who has many lifetimes influence and habituated in so much believing in a creator, they find for them is very suitable. Heterodox means?
Dox means like doctrine or belief, kind of like scripture, and then hetero means different. So different.
Here it says not conforming with accepted or orthodox standards.
Orthodox, yeah. But still a dog. Orthodox or heterodox is still dog.
It seems very weird that in this line it says foundational consciousness is impermanent, when in all the other seeming descriptions of the foundational consciousness, it seems like, oh no, it is the thing that is underlying all and everything comes from it. So yeah, I'm waiting to hear that explained.
But it's a self that's intrinsic in. Is that Cittamatra believes the self is the foundational consciousness is the illustration of self?
Yeah, of course. So I think, yeah, so for example, they say, like, so people who deny God who and who are so devoted to the God, to things, right? So people who deny the gods, this is, so once some people think after death there's nothing, after death there's nothing. So therefore the God is not, God. There's no need for the God. Or for me, there's no need for the God to have a better life in next life, because after death is, the story is ended. And then, within while you are alive, whatever you do is all, successful life or not successful life, or happy or not happy, is all done by myself. So the God is no need there. God is not the He's not the condition. He's not the condition that I I become successful or not successful, right? And then and also by devotion towards the God, He blessed me. So that's one thing, right? And He blessed me, and He also rewards you or punish you. So and on what base? If I done something, the virtuous activities, He will reward me. So if I done something bad, and He will, He punish you. So I think all this idea, because the action has done and it's finished, right? And who will kind of, how this action will come back and bring the consequences, can't bring the result. Because the action is already finished, maybe yesterday or 10 years ago. How it is possible action that is still not dissipated and can bring the result? So who believes in the God says, oh, He is the witness, So He remember everything, right? So then if you've done something good in the past, even the next life, the previous life, or the 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and by praying to the God, having devotion to the God, and He will see, is there any good thing you have done? And He will say, oh, you can be and blessed with that, because you have done such good things. So this whole kind of is, they believe everything that disintegrated, actions disintegrated and ceased to exist, is become something like non-existent. So action is become non-existence. So they don't really see the non-dissipation of the action, right? So non-dissipation actions, they don't really think, they don't really see is possible, or something it's making sense to them. So therefore they want the God to between you and your actions, So so like the people who have believed in a God as a creator, and they think, life is given by the God, or life of good life like human being and God beings, God lives, or the bad life like the hell drums, all provided or created by the Bhagavan, God. So this was kind of, in their mind, kind of, stays for many lives, So for them, this is, yes, there is the foundational consciousness, which is, carries all the seed, any actions, every details that is listed registered within the mind basis all. So the foundational consciousness, from there, every one seed mature and manifest, and that you become at the time. So then you see the object, so they reflect from that mind, or positive or negative. So the wave that you see in the outside is still part of the consciousness, Yeah, when presenting the view of the Cittamatra, the commentaries often speak of three beings. No external reality. It also says things like objects separate from the consciousness do not exist in the slightest. Objects separate from consciousness is not possible, which qualifies the non-existing of the object, such as form, in terms of separate from the consciousness. And on the line, on the line is what is conceived as a physical eye organ. Chandrakirti writes in the commentaries, there is no eye organs that is separate from the consciousness. So in the relation to the Cittamatra, should one qualify what is being negated in the context of the rejections of external reality in above terms, or should not accept without any qualifications? So I think here the qualification is, I don't know, but it's like you accept eye organ, but you don't really accept eye organ is a form that's separate from the consciousness. You accept the color or the shape, but you don't accept that color or the shape is nothing but reflection of the consciousness. Right? So that's kind of saying that. So that the five sense objects such as visible form and the five sense organ do not exist at all in this way. So from separate from the consciousness. They're all layers, the maturations, the wave of the consciousness. First wave, sense power, and then after that, the sense power creates the color of the shapes. So response, yes, commentaries, the both instance are found. So some commentary, the way they writes, the Cittamatras, even they don't really accept the form or sound or smell, they do exist. And some says, yes, these exist, but not separate from the consciousness. Some are very, very sensitive to talk about, something, the elements. So they don't say, oh, elements do not exist. Elements are not the cause for the form or smell or taste, the tactilities. So many of this, and most of the minority school, they accept the elements, the outcome of elements, the sense faculties, the color, the sound, smell, but said, remember that these are all part of the consciousness. So from the one ocean to the quiet, and from the one wave pushes the another wave, and wave, right? So in this way, they originally or finally is merged into the consciousness, and wave from the consciousness. The wave is from the consciousness back to the oceans. So found namely the qualification applied and without it. That said, just as repeated instance of the qualification in the context of the negation arising must be extended to all instances where it is not found. So wherever there says, minority school in the statement or the writing, every line, if there is mention about the form or sound and smell, but you have to understand they are saying these are nothing but consciousness. For example, the summary of the great vehicles, authoritative text representing the opponent's standpoint says, why is it called appropriating consciousness? So appropriating consciousness, the next life, when you have 5 aggregates, this is called appropriation, right? So appropriating consciousness, nyawa lemba. So nyawa lemba means what is appropriating for next life as human beings. For example, right now, what is what is in you that can condition next life is to have a human body. What is in you right now, next life, you have happy life. Right? So it's appropriating consciousness. So why is it called appropriating consciousness? Because it is the cause of all physical sense organ. And it is the basis upon which all physical bodies are appropriated. So therefore, so long as one's lifespan endure, it sustained the 5 physical sense organs without disintegrations. So you see this, So the minority was to ask this kind of questions. You think there's appropriating, appropriations, appropriator. You think your actions will determine what is your next life. What is your next life will be, like a human being or God or animal or whatever. So which means, right now, how you appropriate that. So how do you appropriate the virtuous actions appropriating as the next life as a human life, human being? My negative actions appropriating the next life as animal rounds. So now say, so what is that thing that you have appropriated? What are the appropriations? So if everything is consciousness, and next life you have a two human being, human organs, human eye sense power, human ear sense power, human nose sense power, human tongue sense power, human body sense power, and the human brain, So these are conditioned by your action in this present life. So there's something that when you say, what are you going to do to planting this barley seed in the soil? Oh, I'm going to have barley sprout. Planting the mango seed, I have a mango tree. So you clearly see this seed and what the outcome of that is, there's a time difference and a colors difference, shape difference. They are separate. So then we say, if everything is mind, so can everything is mind, without having died, can you have next life? Because the mind can, from the foundation consciousness, everything is possible. It can mature from the foundation, foundation consciousness. Like right now, things that I see and smell are all, objects that originated from the foundation consciousness. Even my sense powers are, manifest or kind of mature from the seed, which is in the foundation consciousness. So in this way, right now, everything is creating. Can you find your next life, eye sense power, nose sense power, tongue sense, whole body. So this would ask this kind of questions, and this person also very much believing that, the organs and object of the organs are physical form. This cannot be, the human eye sense power, nose sense powers has to be originated from the physical, the material things, from the elements. If only consciousness, and right now, you can have next life, and then say, "Oh, I'm not happy with this life. Just go to another life," So to have the real next life, and which is, depending on, which is based on the real physical things, right? So the appropriating consciousness, but it is cause of all physical sense organs, based on which physical bodies are appropriated. Therefore, so long as one's lifespan endures, it sustains the 5 physical sense organs without disintegrations. So when you have, this is called appropriation, is the ripening result of the karma. So ripening result of the karma is some kind of, it is, called number of members. Yeah, in Tibetan, number of members. Nami means like eye sense power, nose sense powers. These are once being produced in this life. This was always, endures for whole life. Your eye sense powers will remain until death. Your nose sense power, tongue sense power, ear sense powers. But there can be, So these are the appropriations. Is the quality of the appropriations. It's not like things that sometimes we find, due to the COVID, we find no taste of the food, right? This is the temporary. The sense powers is not changing at all. The condition that. So sense powers, because these are the ripening result of karma. Anything that ripening results, it will endure for until the death. So now the question is saying that if everything is consciousness, the consciousness is just rise from the seed which is the foundation consciousness, and dissolve back to the consciousness. So it has no, anything that maturation from the seed of the foundation consciousness seems like there's not very long life. It just mature and then cease to exist. Mature and cease to exist. So the appropriation, the ripening result of the karmas, they will stay. They will kind of, it's for to be a human being, human sense power should be there. Human sense power. So you will endure until the death. So when you change your ram, change your human being to the God being, until that, the human sense organ is there. The common ones are all the seed of the container world, and the uncommons are all the seeds of the individual beings. So seeds, there's also says, foundational consciousness has the seed to produce plants. So this also arises from the seed that from the foundational consciousness, mind basis of alaya. And then the seed, some seeds produces or generates feelingless object like planets. So then there's some from the seed, the sentient beings, like organs, sense base, and the common ones are seed from which sentient beings emerge. Thus, the seed for the container world residing in the foundational consciousness are described as the seed of all entities that are insentient. So it looks like, and the same statement is found in this summary of the explanation of the level of yogi practice as well. In the commentary, Dependent Origination Sutra also, it says that name and form come into beings. So name and form and come into beings. The next life, physical, basis for the physical, and then the names are the like icon, 6 perceptions, right? Thoughts. These are them. Name and form come into being through being conditioned by the foundation consciousness. So where it identifies name as the remaining 4 aggregates and form as a material form, physical, right? Composed of elements and their derivatives, right? The further it speaks of how such a form does not exist in the formless realm. So, but does exist in the other 2 realms. Thus, there appear to be many instances where the Cittamatra school does not seem to accept, material form.
This idea of this name as a remaining 4 aggregates and form as a material form is accepted both Cittamatra and Pasangika.
I think as Cittamatra, they consider it as a Mayana. So all the Mayana sutras, so they accept the 12 links of dependent originations. So 12 links of dependent ignorance, karma, and name and form. So ignorance, karma, consciousness, and name and form. So that name and form is next life. So next life, life is the combination of consciousness and material. So usually, and why they call name and form, because there's the period of times within the mother's womb when the first, consciousness, consciousness trapped in the mother's womb, caught in this seed of the fathers and mothers. So first trapped. So from there, so like the 5
Stages.
5 stages. So So there's 5 stages. So all these 5 stages until the 5th. So there's no really form of human being or animal. Just kind of, it's just liquid and like, like a yogurt-like thing. So that's why it's called name and form. So that's just the material and the possible of generating eye consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mental consciousness, and then, anger, attachments, all the mental formations.
Is that what this 4
Yes.
remaining aggregates?
Yeah, so that's what it's called form and names. Name and form means the names, referring to the 6 perceptions, mental formations, so thought consciousness. They're not there, but there's a, potential. So that's why it's called it name and form. So because it's not really physically formed into human being or any animals. Just there's like yogurt-like thing. So Tunjuru Yamachuru, the 5th, the stages is called now. There is the limbs coming, and then I think there's 34 or 35 weeks, something like in the mother's womb, right? So that's why it's the 12 linked and twin originations saying that ignorance, karma, consciousness, name and form, right? So which next lives they're considering even during the mother's womb from the beginning. So they still consider is next life, although there is no formed yet, right?
Sorry, Geshe, we passed this, but this previous quotation that has common ones are all the seeds of the container world and uncommon ones. This is talking about the sentient and insentient.
Yeah.
When it's talking about the seeds for plants, what does that mean by container world?
The planet's called container, and the Chu means, the sentient beings, and where sentient beings have, how's the word called? Inhabitant or habitants, right? So the sentient beings and their, how's that? Habitation.
Habitual?
Where they have their habitat.
The habitat, yeah. So human beings, sentient beings called habitants,
Inhabitant.
habitants, right?
Yeah.
So habitants and
Yeah, there's a habitat, and beings who are in it, they are inhabitants. Like they live in it.
yeah, that's yeah. Condition, the foundation. I forgot the line.
Further it speaks.
Being conditioned by the foundational consciousness where it identified a name as the remaining aggregates, the form as materials, elements, the further it speaks of how much such a form does not exist in the formless realm, but does exist in other 2 realms. Thus, there are appear to be many instances where the Cittamatra schools does seem to accept material form. So sometimes possible formless realm. So a formless realm are also in that, they also is a part of the foundational consciousness. So what makes the difference, the form realm and formless realms, the formless realms has no maturations of the form from the mind, the foundational consciousness. So now it says, is it possible the formless realm, so as a formless realm being, and then somehow from the foundational consciousness manifest, mature the seed of the form. So they are living in the double realm.
Yeah, I was going to say this doesn't seem to be one of those things where they're saying that there is form, but it comes from the foundational consciousness, right? Like it doesn't seem like that, because like when we think of like in the Sangha view where there is existence because of dependence. It's not necessarily something like that. Like they're saying no, there is no material form. Is that kind of like a distinction that can be made? Because I could maybe see how that's their argument of like they make a sense of like, like they say that at times that there is a material form because it comes from it. I don't know.
Cittamatra schools seem to accept the material form.
Mm-hmm.
So they seem to accept the material form, but they never really accept this is external reality.
Okay.
So they say it's just mature or kind of reflects from the mind basis of all the foundational consciousness. One seed has manifest. Seed of the form has manifest. Therefore, you can see. Seed of the sound is manifest that you can hear. So, if this is not the case, when it comes to all the context where one speaks in terms of form and sound and so on, which are defined on the basis of the form aggregates, it would not valuable for Cittamatra, for the Cittamatra to engage in everyday transactions using such conventions, unless some entirely new system of the conventions were created. As far as I can tell, there is no one among the Buddhists of the noble land of the India who, despite seeing that conventions such as form and so on cannot be mentioned within their systems, still maintaining that theirs is an excellent standpoint as for the meaning of the phrase. Those who propound the object of knowledge to be internal object of knowledge, refer to the form and sound and smell, and so on, and these are not asserted to be external, but are propounded to be inner reality. Yeah. So they deserve big round of clap. So well said, You can, you can write thick book from there. But this kind of, sometimes the scholars, they think they can explain the world. They can explain the world from, their kind of, the viewpoints, from their viewpoints. They can explain the world from their viewpoints. The viewpoints is in the Mananda school, like, yes, sometimes you can say it's just the mind, state of mind, and you are happy and not happy. It's just about state of mind, So how disappointed you are, how excited you are, So there's not much changes while you are excited and you are happy or you are disappointed. All the tables, the cups, all stand on their own place, right? There's nothing changes moving and physically in your room, but you can be super excited, you can be super disappointed. So that means it's not about the material, it's about the state of mind. So that this you can understand, but this we can understand. Now to, from coming from that point, saying that what you are looking at, what you are seeing, what you are hearing is all state of mind, right? Which means, when you, when you listen to music, so you don't need other people to play the guitars, but you can hear the guitar's sound. Because the guitar sound is manifest, the mature from the seed of the mind basis of all. The foundational consciousness. Foundational consciousness is your, iPod. or it is your kind of, software. So it's everything that from there you can see it. So that is a little bit too much, So state of mind can be changed. The reflections change a way how things appears to you. State of mind can change how things appears to you. That does not really, proving that everything is rise from the mind.
It almost seems like one of the consequences of that view would be that everybody would have a completely different world, it would seem, from the Cittamatra school, because it would be whatever that experience or perception is, if it all is internal and it's based on the maturation of karma, it would seem the consequence would be that I had it and I lost it. It just seemed like then there would be no object that two people could agree on, because, and I know that that's one of the things that His Holiness has talked about when it comes to like things existing, is like that there's a relative agreement, like by the people, or something conventional, like something is conventional because people agree and see this thing to be what it is based on convention.
So I think that's from their point of view, from their mind-only school, everything is from the state of mind. State of mind, there is human realms. From the state of mind, there's the animal realms, the state of mind, the God realms. So all these realms is nothing but the mental state. So then the question is, and then they says, the color that you see, smell, the sound that you see, are all manifest, arising from that state of mind. It reflects outside, reflects inside. The inner reflections of your state of mind, and the outer reflections of the object. And then there says, there is no such object other than that reflections of the mind. So that, and then this is the kind of the they're propounding that no external from their viewpoint, mind only viewpoint. And then the logical what they use is to refute external reality. And then they says, if there is external form means the color, the form that you see is not manifest or not arising from the consciousness, rather it arising from the collection of the particles. So then says, from the collection of the particles, they're formed in a different shape and which has different colors. So in each particles, and then they must be coming from their own particles. So now the level of the form means something we can see. And then that form is from the collection of the molecules, atoms, and each atoms from their particles. And then minority school says, what is the finest particles? How that built from? So what origin of that? Mm-hmm. And then this minority school says, you have two options. One, you say, there is minute partless particles which can be source of the first particles. Or you say, like non-Buddhist Vedanta school say, that finest particle is permanent. It's like God. Mm-hmm. So, if you say the most finest minute particle is, so originated from minute partless particles. So then the minority school says, if that is the case, the partless particles, one partless particle, two partless particle is partless, three partless particle is partless. So how many thousands of partless particles are partless? Has no directions. How form can be built from the directionless? So that's the minority school says. Mm-hmm. So therefore, there is no external reality. And Aryadeva says, because of there is no directionless particles, which can produce the form. So you can say this logic is just simply proving that the forms are not from the partless particles. So, forms are not from partless particle or directionless particle, but, so form is, yes, all agree the form exists. If form is not from the directionless particle, and form are from with directions particles. The particle which has direction can be formed into physical material things that you can see through your eye consciousness. So either say you're saying, the form is not from partless particle, therefore no form. It's kind of overestimating or overstatement. Yeah.
Overstatement.
Overstatement. You can say there is no directionless particle, therefore form are not from directionless particle. This much you can say. There's no directionless. You have refuted directionless particle, partless particle. By refuting the partless particles, only you can conclude forms are not from partless particle, right? If the form is not from partless particle, the other option is forms are from particles which has part. So this you say there's no partless particle, therefore from the partless particle cannot produce any form, right? So then you say, oh, because the partless particle is not there, from the partless, from the particle, nothing can build as any form. That's too much.
Mhm.
Because every form is from particles. Every particles from particles which has directions. So now, depending on it's also the direction is also interpretable. Maybe directions like you're saying east or west, north or south. So maybe some particles there is nothing you can measure like east, west, north, south, but only you can measure it is moving forward or backward. So small, most tiniest invisible wave, so that you can see, you can sense it is moving forward or the backward. It's something moving forward, not backward, and then it has the directions because it is going towards the directions. If something that has no direction at all, and that cannot be built any form. So questions now, if the Cittamatra school accept form and sound and so on, then their rejections of the external reality will amount to merely semantic point. Rejection of external reality will amount to merely semantic point. For it is those very things like a form and the rest that are perceived as external that other possess, right, to constitute external reality. So what are you saying?
I've used semantic, but I had to double check it. I mean, semantic just means meaning. Yeah. So to me, it seems like the question that's being stated is that
it's just the word you're saying.
Yeah,
everything is just mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you accept sound, you accept smell, taste, and everything, and you also accept, there is the form, and there is the form can be form are from the elements. You accept elements, you accept particles. So now, I have not much to prove you the external reality. These are for me is proving external reality. Right? So you have all the source and the reason for external, but you just deny there's no external.
Well, I think there's another way to look at this. I think there's another way to look at this, Geshe. And that is that maybe that there's a different view between Cittamatra and middle way kind of collapses into one school. I mean, just as it's asserted in the middle way that appearance arises from emptiness, you can, in mind-only school, not dispute, it seems to me, that there's an appearance of emptiness, but not an ultimate reality of emptiness. So it seems to me you can collapse these two views into the same view. Yes, you can claim that this is only semantical, but and maybe it is only semantical, but it's getting to sound more to me like the difference in views is not genuine, because I accept elements, accept appearance. If you say everything that arises is appearance, whether you're arguing from the Prasangika school or from the Cittamatra school, it's true it becomes just maybe a meaningless philosophical argument, but maybe the two schools are saying sort of the same thing, or at least there's a part of the Cittamatra school that says, yes, external reality exists as an appearance, but it's only an appearance. It doesn't really exist. All appearances arise in the mind, and external reality arises in the mind. And it's not an outright rejection of external reality in the sense of it exists as an appearance only.
So for the Prasangika school accept external reality, right? They accept external reality. They only go with external reality is the eye consciousness seeing the form, outside of the mind. So where eye consciousness see the form, did consciousness see form in the dream? No. Eye consciousness see the form and outside of the mind. So that is external. And then each form, the form that you see with eye consciousness is also formed from the collection of particles. Right? Is formed from the collection of particles. And the particles are origin from the elements. So Prasangika schools, this is what I've been thinking the external reality is. I do not have, so many reasonings. I only, external is, I conscious see the form and outside of the consciousness, and the consciousness, the object that sees is from the collections of the particles from the elements, this much, And you accept all of them, but say there's no external. So that's just merely semantic thinking.
Some of the Prasangika is just like, okay, slow down. It's just.
So Prasangika school says, can I come to your school? Because I have the same thing. So maybe I have to change my language. I say, yes, I accept the form, sound, smell. They are not external. So you only need the word, so that I can, use that. To know external, but color that I see outside of the mind. That color is formed from the collection of particles, the particles from the elements. So same explanations, only I can change is saying no external. So this, I think, the same merely thematical point is like that. You accept all the reason for me that thinking there is external reality. So all the reason I have for, accepting the external reality, all of them, you also, accepting it, agreeing on it. But the only difference is you just say, at the end, you say no external reality. So that's a merely thematical point. For it is those very things like form and rest that are perceived as external, that object, what's it? Others possess to constitute external reality. Yeah, so that's what Prasangika schools. Other who, who find the reason to, yes, there is external reality. So I think mind-only school, so if the mind-only school, this mind-only school accepts the particles and the collections, the form, and the particles, source, the elements, and the consciousness sees the form through the eye sense power. And what is the difficult for them to say external reality? I think because it's lose their name.
They have a brand.
They lose their brand because they're mind only. And how can I say mind only now? So,
I have read that, or I've heard before, that the Cittamatra school was still very influential when it came out. Like, it had a lot of, I don't know if it was new ideas, but like, I don't know if that's per se true.
yeah, Cittamatra schools, not just by itself as a school, it also influenced the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So middle school, Yogacharya middle way.
Mm-hmm.
So Yogacharya middle way is all things that they refute external reality, like Chandrakirti, Kamalashila, and the Dharmakirtis. So, and some like Baba Vivek, they reject that kind of, the mind-only school, my point of views. They all says there is external reality, and Baba Vivek, brings the arguments that says, everything is mind, no external reality, which means you have no problem accepting the external reality. Like here, Prasangika school says, you accept particles, you accept elements, you accept form. And what is the problem for you accepting external reality? Because you believe the mind bases all. So the foundation consciousness. So by so much kind of, what do you call it? The assertions or strong assertion of the foundation of consciousness. So then the believing that everything right now that I can see or smell or think or any experience is all rise from that foundation of consciousness. So that, I think that this kind of view, this kind of, what call it? I know. The major their standpoint of view. So that kind of so that really kind of restrain them to saying there's external, because everything is rising from the mind basis of all. So that yes, you can say the mind-only school says, yeah, there's the particles, there's the elements, but all at the end it rises from the mind basis of all. So Baba Vivek says, this mind basis of all is very interesting. So mind-only schools, you have successfully refuted and negated the Atma, and you create your own Atma. So you put a lot of effort to refute the permanent Atma, and now you face impermanent Atma you found. So the mind bases all. So which is the illustration of I. So everything that world of mine in this life and the past life and the future lives all rise from the mind basis all. This mind basis all is right now with this body, with this life, this very mind basis all, leaves this body to the next body. So it seems like this is the really Atma for you, This is, you refute non-Buddhist school Atma and you accept your own Atma. And mind basis all, then Prasangika, mind only school also said, now how long this mind basis all, stays with you? And mind only school would say, because mind basis of all means good or bad, everything. So which means when you got enlightened, when you become the Buddha, and there is no mind basis of all. So then, and what is the mind basis all turn into? Mind basis all become, mirror like wisdom, mirror like omniscient. So now all the middle school, they have very kind of, it's not really easy to, completely, debunk the mind-only school standpoint. It's not easy, So if so, that's why Chandrakirti brought this mind-only school, standpoint, and to compare, and which part is, how much this can be, how much this can be used as a valid knowledge, and where it can be, needed for change. So if you understand the mind-only school, completely, that detail, and how useful, how knowledgeable, and then where it has gone mistaken, and then you can understand Prasangika school point of view. So that's merely semantical points. That means, Madhyamika's arguments rejecting intrinsic existence from because they still acknowledge the existence of the form and so on, whose very intrinsic existence they deny. In any case, this touch upon a point that seemed to be most difficult for both schools. Not only it is challenge for the Madhyamika standpoint to posit a form and so on in aftermath of the negating their intrinsic existence. So there is a similar challenge for Cittamatra too. For if external reality is negated, form and so on become non-existence. Form and so on, sound, smells become non-existence. See, challenge for the Cittamatra too. for it, external reality is negated, if, right? So there's no external, and the form and so on become non-existence. And if form and so on are posited, yes, they accept to be existence, then external reality may need to be admitted as well. So the minority school has difficulty of that, because the other schools, like Cittamatra school, Prasangika school, and every reason to to propound there's the external reality. So all the reason minority school also follow that, but still they don't really express there's external reality. The problem is minority school finds if I accept external reality, so then what do you call almost they feel like they're defeated. So now they got bankruptcy. So the whole mind base, all its idea is gone, and my name will be gone. And if there are external reality, and then this is also problems. And so saying that these are not the form and sounds are not external. So not external. So this keeps, and I think I was holding on that tail of the name, no external realities. So these are the certainly, thorny questions, but fearing length, right? I have not written more about these matters here. I think we also agree this is enough. So why do you need to repeat again? Yes. So external reality is not external realities. That's very strange. Prasangika school says elements, particles, the collections, the form. Then see with eye. I see, sees the form, that from the collection of particles. Their particles are from the, therefore I say it's external. I don't mean, form that you see is intrinsically inherent in somewhere. I just simply say I see it external, so therefore I call it external form. And the same reason, you too have the same reason, but you deny to calling it external because you may think that I will lose my name or I think maybe it looks like they're kind of finally he is in Tibetan we call like sometimes they're gonna if someone just if someone is falling, there's nothing to hold, even the small grass or something, they try to hold on it. Although they know this cannot save me, but they try to hold on. So Cittamatra. So is there any English word for that?
Grasping at straws is maybe one.
Yeah.
Just grasping at whatever you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So not written. I have not written more about these matters here to continue for next Sunday. So I find these are those standards, like, a spider is cause of the spider web, water stone is that of the water, just as the tree trunks is the cause of its branches, So the God is the cause of all beings. These are very kind of, very useful line. If you remember that, the Mind-Only School's idea is from there. And then just as in the ocean, whipped by the windstorms, waves rise high one after another. So from the seed of all, foundation consciousness, the mere consciousness arises through its own potential. Sometime in the life, so that, we call in my, I have a good life and not good life. So this life is actually totally in the state of mind, right? It's nothing to do with, things that you see and smell and taste. So some, some have reason to make the lives terrible. Every reason they try to find, this is not good, this is not good, So some people have this habit. Is that his life has nothing to do with like form, sound, smell, taste. So that is exact, it's just your habit is again and again to reflect in your mind. So you are looking at, reflection of your own habit, So at that time you can read this line and then it's very good. So you are the spider's net that come from, So, okay. Chanju Simjo Rinpoche, Majepa na Keshuji, Kevanyamba, Mebanu, Kono Pebush, Tony Tawa Rinpoche, Majepa na Keshuji, Kevanyamba, Mebanu, Kono Pebush, Pama Simje Tamje, Devan Denjuji, Nindo Tamje Tata Tong, Chanju Simba Kama Sushube, Tada Kunja, Mono Jukiruji, Karera Yoko, Shingazu, Pella, the woman, Joy, Jereson, Tinzinja, Shabeside Bado Denjuji.
May this precious floating mind not get born or rise and grow. May that one of no decline may increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born or rise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all other mental sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all the lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Genesis Intrinsic, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you.